Teachers are among the frontline workers waiting to receive the J&J jabs. Let's get a reaction now from SADTU spokesperson Xolani Fakude. Thank you for joining me this afternoon. How well informed are you by the Department of Health about the status of vaccines?
Thank you very much. Firstly, let me greet you and let me greet the viewers as well. Our understanding is that there has indeed been a principled agreement. In actual fact, we want to also make a positive note towards the DBE and the DOH because there is a clear indication that there is an intention to actually prioritize education workers as part of the next phase of the vaccination rollout program. However, what we are now beginning to pick up also, and as we continuously engage with the relevant authorities, is that there obviously is now some delays that we're getting in as far as the FDA process is concerned. And what we're looking forward to and what we are hoping for is that indeed, especially as we move towards the 26th of July, when we expected to have all, or June, when we expected to have all our learners back into the schools, at least education workers would have been reached by this particular vaccination rollout program.
So what would SADTU like to see happen because we're having so many problems with the J&J vaccine? Are you pushing for an alternative to be got? Because, you know, at the moment, this is not just a small delay. I think it's been over 2 months.
Well, I mean, we would not necessarily be in a position right now to push for either an alternative or not. That is a space for the health experts. We rely on the advice that we'll be getting from them. However, what we certainly would like to see, there must be an appreciation that whatever happens in the community also happens in the school, which means that community infections cannot be seen outside of what happens in the school environment. So we know that we are right now facing right in its face the third wave. And we're already seeing a number of learners already having been reported that already they are getting a positive results. Already you would know in the Northern Cape, it is already beginning in Gauteng as well. So what we would like to see in particular is that there should indeed be some kind of a prioritization in terms of the program. And we must be honest also that so far we have received overwhelming support from the parents, because remember that the parents of our learners also appreciate that what is necessary here is that once the adult population within the schooling environment is at least vaccinated, it also lessens the anxiety levels of also our parents, the learners and the teachers as well. By the way, the other important thing is that we are not only talking here about just roughly 500,000 teachers or so. Remember, we still have got about 320,000 additional assistants that are assisting us right now. We still have got another already those who are already in the within the register as the education support personnel. So we're talking of roughly 1 million people here, by the way. So it is important that there should be some kind of a prioritization as we move towards hopefully opening the entire system.
EFF has called for the closing of schools because of the third wave in certain provinces, which obviously they're saying puts teachers at risk, puts students at risk. How are you responding to that?
Well, what we are not going to do is that we are not necessarily going to make such a grandeur call at this particular stage. We believe in basing a calls and pronouncements on data and scientific facts that we are receiving on the ground. Now, fortunately, what we are doing, working together with the other education unions that are recognized in the Education Labour Relations Council, is that we are continuously rolling out surveys. We are trying to assess as to what is really happening on the ground, because we should rely on facts and data before we make such pronouncements. What we're going to do as such is that we're going to closely monitor the situation, especially as we move towards the 26th of June, because we know that we are right in the midst of the third wave right now. And
okay, let me ask you to pause there, Xolani. Just pause for me. About 2 weeks ago, I spoke to your Secretary General. At that stage, there was a survey going out, I think the Tuesday after I spoke to him. What are you learning from those surveys? Give us some insights.
Well, I thank you for asking that question. In actual fact, we had quite a significant number of respondents to that survey. We're trying to assess the state of readiness to receive the vaccine amongst the education populace. And what we are seeing is that members, education personnel, actually are more than ready to receive the vaccine in terms of a perception point of view. However, also what we are seeing, and which is what we also want to highlight, is that the standard operating procedures that we had agreed upon as stakeholders do not seem to be applied consistently across the board. For instance, many of the members who responded to that particular survey were saying that even though they've got comorbidities, there was no consideration or means made for them to work online and not necessarily on site in terms of delivering the curriculum. So it tells you, and it already told us, that there indeed is a problem in terms of applying of those standards that we have agreed upon.
It's a very good point you raise about the comorbidities, because initially government's plan for phase 2 wasn't just 60 plus. It was for people who have dangerous comorbidities. And as you say, many teachers may have them. I don't know what the numbers are. Maybe you have them. But surely SADTU then, because of its primary stakeholder being the teacher, has a responsibility to push for more teachers that do have comorbidities to go to the front of the line or to go in with 60 plus. Are you doing that?
Well, I mean, that is continuously what we were always going to do. Remember, it is us, by the way, who actually highlighted the issue of the education workers with comorbidities. So it is precisely what we are continuously going to do. And that is why, as we move forward as well, we continuously also want to engage those members to get a sense as well as to what is it really that they are going through. One other issue that we want to highlight, by the way, we feel as a union strongly that we are perhaps missing an opportunity that comes with this crisis. I mean, by now, really, we should be talking at an advanced level in terms of blended learning and other forms of delivering the curriculum that could be offsite. And we feel very strongly that that should be the direction, that should be the conversations we're having now as a country. Because what is clear is that this COVID is going to be with us for a very, very long time. In fact, this is our reality. I mean, when you look at the crisis that we are seeing in terms of the vaccine rollout program, it means that we must prepare ourselves to do things in a new way.
Xolani, final question. When does the risk, because you said quite rightly you're paying attention to the science, you're listening to the experts, when does the threshold, the level of COVID infections become a problem for you, at which point you start to say schools need to be shut down?
Well, they become a problem for us when we begin to see and observe as well that the health system is becoming overwhelmed. I mean, what we continuously are doing, like we are always emphasizing, is that we are not under the illusion that actually we've got all the answers to what is certainly a novel kind of a situation that all of us are seeing as a new particular problem. So what we're continuously going to do, and like I was saying, that we are going to take the advice. We are being advised by the World Health Organization. UNICEF as well also comes into a picture and tells that but listen, learners by and large are not necessarily at a higher risk. That's what we have been told, that the danger is more between the adult population. So we are listening to various experts, and it must be appreciated as well that sometimes even the advice that we get, I mean, you would get UNICEF, the World Health Organization, saying two different things in terms of this context. But what matters to us, the threshold is community infections. And we are saying that we are now seeing a situation whereby the health system is also becoming overwhelmed. We are seeing increasing numbers of infections. And certainly, when we observe that situation, we will be able as a union to come out very strong and vociferously and say that let's review that particular decision.
Xolani Fakude is SADTU spokesperson. Thank you for your time.